Hey guys, welcome back to another match preview. I'm honestly so incredibly excited. This is the most excited I think I've ever been for a match preview, not only because it's Chelsea in the Champions League, but because I'm joined by a really good friend of mine, Jenny Chiu. You might know her from the Chelsea in the USA videos, which are absolutely epic, but she's also a reporter for the Champions League on CBS. So it's just like the most perfect person that I could possibly have on the street. Jenny, thank you so much for joining me today.
Are you kidding me? I'm so excited. I haven't seen you in a while, and your energy, like I was studying and doing all this stuff and I was getting tired, but the way that you just introed me and the energy, the smile you bring, I'm here now. I just had my morning coffee with you.
That's awesome. So yeah, we just bounce off of each other's energy. Yeah. Everybody's super excited in the comments to have you, by the way, which is very cool. So I want to bring it back. Obviously, to look forward to a game, I also want to look at the past game to see how that performance could impact this game. So what did you think of the Southampton game overall? What did you think of the team's performance?
I'm obviously we didn't start badly. Southampton got that opportunity on the break, which honestly, I was trying to pick out like, whose fault is this? You know, did someone do something wrong? And reality, I think they just had a great play. You know, we were pushed up high. They split it perfectly, the ball perfectly in between, Zuma and Aspi. Like, yeah, you can criticize maybe the reaction after the fact, but the way that they were set up, I don't think that anyone was like really to point at and be like, hey, that was that person's fault, which I don't do anyway. But they had a great play, which was lucky for them. And then I don't want to criticize Chelsea too much in that aspect. I think that what Tuchel said after the match about it being like the final third, you know, that last 20 meters is where the issue is. I think we can all agree with that. I think anybody watching the game can say, okay, how do we make it so that the decision-making right in front of the goal is more clinical, and how do we get that going? But in terms of possession of the ball, like passing, I don't want to say like anything negative, you know? What do you think?
Yeah, that makes sense. Sorry, my hair is like a disaster right now. So.
Same, always.
So you mentioned the comments that Tuchel made, and I'm really glad that you said that because I am really impressed with the way that he speaks in his press conferences. I think that he's very honest about his thoughts about Chelsea and the players and where he can go from there. Obviously, it's still early days for Tuchel, and there's still a lot of aspects to be implemented within the team. But knowing that Chelsea have historically struggled to break down sides that defend deep, and that in the past couple of games, the goals have really been coming from penalties. Chelsea haven't been scoring that many open play goals. So do you think that there's enough time in between that Southampton game and this Atletico game to try to fix some of those issues?
No, I think this is something that Chelsea has struggled with for a while. Even in Frank Lampard's era, this isn't like a new Tuchel issue. This is the roster that we have. This is the situation that Chelsea is in. It's not a light switch. It's not something that like, oh, actually, I want you to put the ball in the back of the net. Oh, great. Okay, I'm going to put the ball in the back of the net now. Thanks, coach. Like, that's not what's happening here. I think they all know and are trying to do it. I think it's something that's going to take time. You know, Tuchel is so new. When you think about, what is this? Is it 6 matches?
Yeah, something like that.
It's not that much to kind of like start to implement all this stuff. You know, between Southampton and Atlético de Madrid, I do think Champions League is a different animal than Premier League or any league in La Liga. You know, it's a different animal. But I've been trying to figure out, okay, if I was a manager, which I don't ever want to be a manager, please don't. I'm not claiming to be a tactician. How would I approach, you know, a final third problem? I think it is something that you break down in film. You know, when are we successful? Obviously, we don't just want to score on penalty kick opportunities, but how do we build up? And then in this moment, who's taking the shot? Who's going to take the initiative of saying, I'm willing to make a mistake, but I'm also willing to take, you know, the reins and say, I will be the one to score the goal. I think that's important. But it's difficult because it's not like they're not trying. It is maybe fear, which I think I saw a little more, you know, under Frank Lampard, which may just be these players and some certain psyche that they're under, but kind of making it okay to make mistakes is really important. Like, hey, it's okay. You can miss 5 times, but if you make one, we win the game.
Yeah,
So I think that we've done that with consistency with Werner. We know you're having trouble getting your feet under you, but we're going to continue to give you opportunities. I think that's all we can do right now, which takes time. It takes time.
Yeah. I think as fans, we just get so antsy about it because we want to see our team, defending well and scoring a lot of goals and playing this amazing attacking football and whatever. But it's just not reasonable that everything's going to come together. And I liked a point that you mentioned. I think like a part of it could be like a bit of a risk factor as well. Maybe like being scared to overturn the ball, and they're just making these very safe passes and making it okay. Like, oh, it's okay. We can win the ball back if you lose it, but just try to take a risk, because that's something that I notice as a Chelsea fan, that we tend to like pass the ball a little bit too much, and it seems that nobody's really taking shots, and I tend to wonder, where are the goals going to come from? So who do you think are going to be some key players for Chelsea in this match? Do you see anybody who could be a real goal threat against Atletico?
Looking towards this Atletico game, I really think and hope that Werner's going to have a great game. I think that he can seize opportunities, whether, I'm trying to do my research on Atletico a little more so than Chelsea, because I'm a little more familiar with Chelsea, you and I both. But with them changing their system between a 4-4-2 and a 3-5-2, it opens up opportunities for Werner to get in behind. I watched the Levante match, or I'm halfway through, but in that match, there's one ball that goes completely in behind, and Werner's speed would have gotten there. Like when I watched that, I'm like, okay, that's a great opportunity for Chelsea to, capitalize upon. And that's something that Werner can do for Chelsea. So, I'm hoping that he has a great game, and he's coming in with some confidence that he can make a difference. I wanted to ask you your starting 11 potentially. I know we're going to get to that, but I feel like I really like Giroud. I think that, if we can play some crosses into him, maybe he can also capitalize there. What are you thinking?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, but since Tammy was taken off at halftime, I think that's the second time that's happened. So I would be surprised if Tammy starts again in this match. And I think that typically to get the best out of Timo Werner, you need to play somebody with him up front, which is what we've seen, that he kind of plays on the shoulder as a hybrid, like left winger, striker type person. And Giroud could be a really good shout because he has so much experience in the side as well. And I think that it really depends what kind of game we want to play, because if we want to have a target, we know that Atletico do play a bit lower than Chelsea are. I do think that Chelsea will probably have a little bit more possession, maybe not as much as we do in the league, but it could be a good shout to have Giroud on. I was also like contemplating the idea of having a Werner and Pulisic duo up front.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
Too crazy?
No, nothing is too crazy. Let me tell you something. With Tuchel as the man, nothing is too crazy. And I don't want to predict a lineup, because maybe he's listening right now, Ellie, and he's like, you know what? That's a good idea.
If it happens tomorrow, I'm fully taking credit.
You called it.
So it's kind of on the terms of starting 11. Another player that I wanted to talk about was Callum, because we saw that he got subbed on in the Southampton game at halftime and then got subbed off, which is not something that I typically see a lot. Maybe you've seen more of it. So do you think that could affect him anyway mentally going into this game? And how would you expect him to react after that happening?
Yeah, I see a lot of people talking about it in maybe a negative form. We saw, I'm sure you watch on, and no, you're in Madrid. So I watched on NBCSN. So obviously there were alternating different opinions upon that. Tim Howard was really upset about it and what that does to Cho's confidence. I'm sorry, Callum Hudson-Odoi's confidence and such.
I think so too. It's perfect.
Sorry, everyone knows who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And Robbie was not happy about it. I mean, was more so on Tuchel's side, saying, if that's what he has to do to assert his dominance and whatever, send a message, he's in full right to do so. I think that he has handled it perfectly. When I say he, I mean Tuchel. What he did there, his decision, I'm not against it. I was a player. I understand that being in Cho's shoes, that would be incredibly embarrassing, infuriating, maybe, I don't know, just all negative emotions potentially in that moment. Not potentially, definitely in that moment. But I think that what Tuchel did after the fact made it very clear that it's not a big deal and it's not something to carry on. He has reiterated, I think, in like 4 different interviews, in today's press conference as well, that that's behind us. We're moving forward. We've made it very clear that he is in contention to start for, Atletico. He may, that's not something that's going to carry over. It's not like a situation where he is no longer, part of the team. He didn't play well, and I'm not even putting him on the roster anymore. So I think that if I was Callum Hudson-Odoi, I would have been upset. But the way that Tuchel has handled it after the fact, it's like, okay, you want to move forward? I want to move forward too. Let's swipe it from the mind and let's move forward. So I appreciate that. But what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think that it really depends on the type of player and the mentality, but I do think that Callum is somebody who's going to react positively to this. And I just put myself in their shoes. If I were a player, I would be like, I need to get my act together. And the next time that I go on the pitch, I want to impress and I want to play harder. And it's going to, I think it forces not only Callum, but everybody in the team to know, nobody's safe, really. I need to work my butt off during this game. Otherwise, I could get subbed, even if I just got subbed on, which I think sends a really good message to the team that he's not here to mess about, that he wants to, everybody to be playing 100%. If you're not playing 100%, you don't play.
I agree. I think it's a good message to send. But it does depend upon the locker room. Are they going to take it in a positive way, or are they going to frame it in a negative way and then turn against Tuchel because of this one instance? There are ways where this becomes toxic, but only if they let it and if they, make it into something bigger than it was. I think Tuchel made it very clear. This is not as big as you guys are trying to make it, kind of, the media is trying to blow this up and make it this big sensation, and it's not. In the moment, he wasn't doing what I asked for, so I pulled him out. No hard feelings. I think that that's the best way as a manager you could handle that. Put myself in his shoes. I'd be upset, but then I'd be like, all right, you want to move on? I want to move on too. Let's go.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. Good message in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. So in general, how are you feeling about this Atletico game? Because I'm a bucket of nerves right now, honestly.
You're always nervous though.
I know, it's true.
It's a difficult one. When I saw them matched up, I was like, oh, that's tough. Atletico's always going to be tough. Diego Simeone's sides tend to do well. But the fact that Tuchel took PSG to their first ever Champions League final last year just kind of gives me security or a little bit more confidence in Champions League, that he has the experience there, that he knows this tournament. He knows what he's doing. The fact that, he's been talked about as being this tactical chameleon is really important in this match. Diego Simeone is a smart man, a smart manager. The fact that he's changing his formation to what he's typically been known for the last decade. If I'm Tuchel, I'm going into this match ready for both. I'm ready for his 4-4-2. I'm ready for his 3-5-2, 3-5-1-1. And I think that he is capable and smart enough to prepare his team for both, which gives me some sort of calmness.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I feel like even his in-game management I really like, because if something isn't working, he makes a change at halftime and he doesn't wait until 60 or 70 minutes. He can recognize that, okay, this initial plan isn't working. How can I adjust? How can I make a positive impact on the team? So I do feel a little bit more comfortable in that sense. But like you said, it's Atletico Madrid. Right now, they're sitting first in La Liga. They have been dropping points recently. We know that they lost 2-0 against Levante this weekend, and their run of games hasn't been fantastic. 2 wins, I think 2 draws and a loss, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, but this is the thing, Ellie. You can look at things both ways. They're coming off of a loss. I'm looking at, let me pull up these stats. From this match, is this the one? Yes. Atlético de Madrid had 28 shots. Levante had 6. Okay. And when you're watching this game back, Atletico shots are hitting the crossbar, they're getting stopped, they're good shots. So it's not like they had a bad performance and their team fell apart and that's why they lost. So if I'm Atletico, I'm a little bit more fired up. I'm thinking, we had the opportunities. We were the better team. I wouldn't be like, oh no, we're so bad. I'm sulking and now we're going to lose to Chelsea and I'm going to let it carry over. I'd be like, okay, we should have won that game. Look at how many opportunities we had. We were so close. Now let's take it to Chelsea and show the rest of the world, everybody watches Champions League, what we can do. So that's not great for Chelsea. I think it would have been better if they were continuing on a winning streak and coming in a little more calm and confident.
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah. But I don't know. It's going to be an interesting game. I think it's like such a fun game. I'm really, really excited. Prepping it has been fun. Speaking to you about it is always fun. I kind of want to hear, we have quite a few people commenting. I see.
Yeah. So I have just been ignoring your comments, you guys. I'm so sorry.
We're having too much fun here.
Yeah, so we have a question from Joe Tweedy, who was on this stream this past weekend. He said, Chelsea haven't won a Champions League leg since 2014. Do you think that this is the year that we can finally break it? And it kind of goes into us speaking about, playing against Atletico Madrid. They're a really fantastic side, but we do have Thomas Tuchel, who is a master tactician, but it's also a young side. It's not necessarily the most experienced side. So do you think, Jenny, that Chelsea are underdogs going into this match? Do you think that we can get past this Atletico game?
I have trouble using the word underdog here. I think the fact that the venue is neutral helps Chelsea, obviously. I think that's good for them, because going to the Wanda is something completely different. I was lucky enough to cover, a Champions League match at the Wanda. What was it? RB Salzburg? Goodness gracious.
Was that the one that I helped you prepare for?
It might be.
Was it the one
I was in Madrid? I was in Madrid and I saw you. Yeah. But there,
I was like trying to come up with questions. but
that match really, really showed me Joao Felix. Joao Felix had a hell of a game. I don't have the best memory ever, but I think either he had like 2 goals and an assist or vice versa, 2 assists and 1 goal or something. But he is a game changer. And if I were Chelsea in this match, I would be extremely aware that he can change games. If they play on the counterattack, they're going to want to feed him the ball. Obviously, Luis Suarez is Luis Suarez, and everybody knows what he can bring to the table, and that's terrifying in itself. Yeah. I've seen a lot of conversations about the back line. Having Thiago Silva out is not great. We're obviously pretty hurt about that.
I was just going to ask you about that, like how you're feeling with Thiago Silva being out.
Yeah, not great, Not great. I really, really rate him. I followed him for a long time. When he played on the Brazilian national team, I was like, okay, that's how you lead a team. That is, a leader. So huge fan of him. The fact that he's missing is going to be a huge loss for the Chelsea back line, especially in that leadership aspect. I know you love Aspie and he's your husband almost, look alike. But missing Thiago is a huge one. Especially up against Joao Felix and Luis Suarez, both players that I rate. Correa is also like incredibly great, but just it's going to be tough. I'm not going to be like, Chelsea's going to blow everyone out of the water. It's going to be because I think that we try not to get scored on. It would be really great. It would be a good starting option, but obviously defensively, Chelsea has been looking better. They're looking more solid, so I'm not going to be too worried, but I would be ready for that counterattack, specifically Joao Felix on the run, quick player. I don't know. There's so much going through my head. I'm still running through it all.
I'm especially nervous just because they have like such a good attack, and without Thiago Silva, I think that he brings so much leadership and experience to the team, and he just kind of shores up any player that's beside him. They are without Jimenez in this game, so it's kind of like an eye for an eye in that sense that they're without their best center back, we're without ours. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be a really interesting game. So something that I'm worried about is like I don't want to get I don't want to say humiliated, but last year we lost 3-0 to Bayern in the first leg. And then afterwards, it's kind of hard to come back from that. So it's going to be difficult, I think, to try to manage the attacking sense from the defensive sense, because we are playing away. So how important do you think that we score that away goal? Or do you think that it's better to stay more defensive and maybe bring it to the bridge?
This is coming from I'm not a tactical mind, but if it were my decision, I would try in the first 5-10 minutes to get a goal, very, very hard, pushing everybody forward, just trying to get a quick goal. And then I would probably sit a little more in trying not to get a goal scored on or concede a goal. I don't really know whether that's an actual tactical thing that could do. For the first 5 minutes, run as fast as you can and try to get to the goal off kickoff. But But I think it's important to get that first goal. Whoever scores that first goal can make the decision. And obviously, if you have Atletico de Madrid score the first goal early and then they sit back, it's going to be so hard to break them down, something that Chelsea is known for not being able to do very well. So we don't want that. We do not want them to get the first goal. Like I said, I think, and I hope that if we can get Werner in behind, we can get a quick early goal. That's something that I saw the opportunity for when I watched the Levante match, Atletico and Levante. Like, there are openings for that, for specifically his skill set. So we'll see what Tuchel comes up with. He's a way better tactical mind than
I always start to predict the starting 11 and I'm like, why do I bother? Like, I really have no idea what he's going to go for. Like,
yeah. I'm not going to predict a lineup because I know he's thinking like 10 steps ahead of me, maybe 100. So
So we got an interesting question from Aaron. He says, on paper, and obviously this is on paper, in the game, anything can happen, but who has the better squad? What do you think?
Ooh, I think Atletico. What are you thinking?
I'm not like that familiar with Atlético de Madrid. I don't watch that many games, even though I live in Madrid. It's like, it's really,
we got to get you to watch some of those.
I know. But I do know that they have a couple of very, very strong players. And I'm obviously familiar with Luis Suarez and Joao Felix. And I actually went to a game. It was the last game that you could go to at the Wanda before lockdown a year ago. And I went to that game and they won. Yeah. So, and I just saw like Simeone is so animated on the touchline. I'm honestly worried for this game. But
you're always worried though.
I'm always worried. I'm always very invested in Chelsea.
It's a two-leg though. It's a two-leg, and I think that kind of should bring some ease. You know, the fact that it is two legs. Like, I think you feel out the game in this first leg a little bit. You feel out, the fact that Diego Simeone has been playing with this formation more so than he ever has in the past. See what he brings to the table, and then Tuchel being Tuchel can break that down, hopefully, and in the second leg just come through all the way. But yeah, not getting scored on is great. I think that Atletico's John Oblak is so great. I really like. They would not be where they are in the table without him. He is really good. So in order to score against him, we have to do something quite special. So what I'm guesstimating and hoping for is that Werner will do something special. Giroud will do something special. Maybe Pulisic comes on at some point and does his one-on-one beautiful and makes America proud.
I hope so. I always cry whenever he scores, honestly, because I'm just so happy for him. But do you think that it's how do you see players like Pulisic and Havertz, who haven't been really playing in the team? They've been out injured, or I don't know if Havertz has even been injured, but if he's just still not match fit yet. Do you see them making an impact in the game?
I haven't thought about the Kai thing as much. I have played with the idea that, he has the ability to play those balls through that we need, to be more creative in the center. He has that skill set per se, more so than maybe some players in our midfield. So it would be nice to have him on all cylinders, obviously, and going, and he would be, goodness gracious. It's going to be really great when we have him. I don't think that right now is the moment to kind of put all our eggs into him specifically in this match. Like I said, I think it would be interesting. I don't know necessarily what Pulisic's fitness level is. I know that he is on the roster, the travel roster. I heard Tuchel mention that he's good to go, but I don't know exactly how many minutes that means. Does that mean he can play the full match? Does that mean that he can only play 20 minutes? I don't know. I'd put him on off the bench. I think he's shown that he can create a spark depending on what the game shows. Is this a 0-0 game, or are we down 3-0? Then probably you're not putting in Christian Pulisic. So we'll see. What are you thinking?
I don't know. It's just like I was thinking more along the lines of like there's certain players that really haven't been playing much, like Kai Havertz, Hakim Ziyech is another one that I forgot that hasn't played much. But these players also do have Champions League experience, so I'm wondering if Tuchel is going to lean on that a bit. At least with Hakim, who's so experienced in the Champions League, and he has a really good goal scoring record, but he just really hasn't found his feet at Chelsea yet. He's just been in and out of injury. He hasn't been playing that much. He actually has only played 14 games worth of competitive football in 11 months because the Dutch league ended so early in March, and then he got injured and then came back and got injured again. Yeah. So I don't know. It's really interesting. I think, like you said, maybe we're going to see a Werner Giroud up front. And I think Mason Mount is also capable of a goal. He's capable of a long shot or a free kick as well. But like I said to you in the beginning, I'm nervous about where these goals are going to come from. I really am.
Yeah. I think what you're saying about set pieces potentially as off a free kick or maybe off of a corner kick with Giroud getting a header in, what would be great, maybe even Aspie, I'm reaching for you. Aspie scoring off of a corner kick or something is a good way to get the goals. But like I said, I think that if they're pushing higher than they usually are, as long as they're not sitting back deep, we have the ability to play that ball in behind. I have like different formations that could potentially work, like written down everywhere, like scattered along my my desk for tomorrow, because we're doing a live Twitch stream with CBS Sports, which I work for. I know some people are like, who the heck is this chick?
Yeah, she's
so
like,
I'm like playing. I'm playing with different options, like what happens if this person plays? What happens if you play in this formation or what?
What do you think? I'm like total like such a nerd about this stuff. Like, enlighten me. What are you thinking?
Okay, I am having the hard. Okay, so I do start Callum Hudson-Odoi. I start Callum Hudson-Odoi. I know we had that conversation a little bit earlier about, how he's going to be feeling or whatever after those comments. I think he's great, and I think that he can do great things for Chelsea. Whether it makes sense in this match or not, I don't know. But I like him, so I've put him on. I don't know who to put on the left wing back. Like who? Chilwell, Marcos Alonso. I cannot figure it out. I have a big question, but there's nothing there. I have no idea.
Well, I thought that Chilwell would play versus Southampton and then Alonso would play versus Atletico, but then Alonso played versus Southampton. Didn't think he had a particularly great game, but Chilwell hasn't looked great at left wing back either. So that's the real question. Alonso is capable of moments of brilliance, though. He can score a fantastic goal, but I'm a little bit nervous about the defensive side of it if he's going against these players. Like, I think defensively Chilwell is a little bit stronger, so maybe you play a Chilwell.
So you think Chilwell is defensively stronger than Alonso?
Yeah, I think so.
You're like, duh. I think that either one of them is difficult in this match, that left where, let me think. Luis Suarez plays on the right. So that would be right. No,
that's Chelsea's left.
What am I doing? Yeah. So
With three at the back, it's a little bit better as well, but just without Thiago, so maybe you even put a Kurt Zuma in there. I don't know. Like,
I'm interested. Once those lineups come out, I'm gonna be calling you and being like, "Did you see that? Nobody guessed this one."
Yeah, it's good to be like a random player,
and none of them are this. No, for real. Okay, so Jonathan here says he trusts Alonso. Okay.
Interesting. I think he's capable of some world-class goals, like his finishing. I saw this tweet that was just hilarious, and somebody's like, whoever put him as a left back totally missed the mark because he should have been a striker, like in another life, because his finishing is just out of this world. He's capable of such fantastic goals. But I'm a little bit worried about the defensive side, but obviously he's a left wing back with 3 center backs. You do have a little bit more defensive coverage. But Jenny, I want to be cognizant of time. I know we said 30 minutes. So before we leave, what's your score prediction for tomorrow?
Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm having a hard time. 1-1.
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was just thinking.
Wait, tell everyone in the chat to put it quickly before I go, because I'm actually curious what everyone else is thinking. I'll be sure to mention it on my Twitch tomorrow if someone gets it right.
All right, guys, you heard Jenny. Make sure to put your score predictions in the chat before we log off. How are you feeling about the game?
Goal? Wait, who's your goal? Who's Chelsea's goal?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go for Werner. I think Werner.
Okay.
What about you?
I mean, like I said, I think Werner can score off of that ball through. I don't know. I want to say Werner, but I don't want to say the same thing as you, so I'll say Giroud because I'm a fan of the Frenchman and pretty deadly in front of the goal. So
wow, we're getting so many. I just like completely lost. James says 1-0 to Atletico. Patrick says 1-1. So I said 5-0 to Atletico because I play FIFA a lot. Well, Chelsea, people are saying that Atletico are going to win, but I think that Chelsea could pull a what's the word? A result against Atletico. Oh, somebody said 4-4. That's that's
okay. But if it happens tomorrow out of nowhere, if they're both just not playing defense and just going on the attack, Bear Fuhrer, we're calling you out. 4-4.
Yeah, I would be like, can you please give me the lotto numbers because I would never have that. Yeah, a lot of people are saying 1-0 or 2-1. So, oh my God, so he said 8-0, go big or go home. Well,
okay, Joe. But you didn't put. He didn't say a winner.
Yeah, who is that for? It
which way?
In the Atletico, like in the home side, which is Atletico, but
yeah,
it was a Chelsea fan, so I don't know. Yeah, we're seeing a lot.
Your logic will not work. There will be no 1-1. Atletico will win in any case. Okay, because this is facts. Facts.
Oh my God.
Sure thing.
We need to be positive, you guys. We need to at least think that Chelsea is going to score 1 goal. Like, we just need to spread the positivity on here.
Let's see tomorrow. We can tweet each other tomorrow, and yeah, we're the positive people on Chelsea's fan base. Why not? You know, life is short.
Life is short. Be positive. Believe in Chelsea.
Thank you for having me, Ellie.
Thank you so much for coming on, Jenny. Honestly, I appreciate it so much. I know that everybody has really enjoyed this episode. Just let everybody know where they can find you if they don't know already. But
okay. Social media. My name is Jenny A. Chiu. So that's Twitter, Instagram. I have a YouTube. This is YouTube. Is this YouTube?
Yep, this is YouTube.
Mexican Chiu, which is like CHEXICAN Chiu, CHIU. And yeah, that's all I got. I don't know. Oh, I'm having a Twitch tomorrow on CBS Sports' YouTube.
Cool. So send me the link for the Twitch and I'll be sure to put it in the description. I put Jenny's Twitter in there. I'll make sure to add her YouTube in there. Definitely follow her. She does incredible videos for Chelsea and the USA. I honestly love the videos. That's how we first met because I was just like obsessed with her videos. And she's an incredible reporter. So definitely follow her because I look up to her so much and like she's just so supportive.
Oh, stop it. You're the best. You're the most loved Chelsea video maker, and I'm a huge fan because the first video that came out, you were super supportive and positive, which is not always the case with women in sports. You know, sometimes you're like, hey, this is a threat, and you were like, welcome, and I was like, that's very indicative of who you are, you know. So I appreciate you always, and let's go.
Yes, let's go, Chelsea. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode because honestly, it's been one of my favorites that I've done so far. So if you like this video, please drop it a like because it helps me out so much. Subscribe to my channel, a lot more good content. I'm sure I'll get Jenny back on in the future as well. And yeah, until next time, I'm up. Oh my God, I'm up. I was thinking about the game and I got nervous. Until next time, I'm out.
Bye.